Alright, so this video is going to be a reiteration of my sprint and map design video where I talked about how I'm kind of worried about Call of Duty World War II's map design, and I wanted to kind of go into that a little bit more here because the more I think about it, the more I realize that the maps in Call of Duty World War II can ruin the experience in the same way that Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and Advanced Warfare's maps negatively impacted the experience, at least for me. The problem with those three games' maps is that they were too small for the movement. They were too simple. They didn't have enough layers. They didn't have enough depth. It was actually kind of nice to go back to play Call of Duty 4 and see maps that have depth and little things you have to learn and cool ledges and ladders and secret places you can be. I'm worried that Call of Duty World War II is going to make very simple, competitive savvy maps without any sort of creativity. And what really started me thinking about this was Infinite Warfare's, too many Warfares. Infinite Warfare's new DLC. The new DLC for Infinite Warfare, well, it's new for us Xbox faggots, but it's been on PlayStation for a while. The third DLC pack has a lot of very complicated, messy maps. Not gross-looking destroyed maps, but they're just complicated. There's lots of rooms and lanes and under areas. They're larger maps. They're not huge, they're not like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Wasteland big or Call of Duty Ghost Stonehaven big. They're not Battlefield big, but they're bigger. Now, size isn't my only concern because unlimited sprint isn't going to be in Call of Duty World War II, and neither is sliding or any sort of exo jumps or anything, of course, so smaller maps for that slower movement might be okay. But what I'm worried about is really Black Ops 2 level simple maps. I don't want simplicity, I want depth to these maps. I want things that I can learn. Maps with no interesting areas, no interesting depth or interesting placements are just boring to me, and they don't do anything. It just becomes a spawn push. Oh, they're spawning over here, go kill them. Okay, no, they're spawning over here, go kill them. Which of course is most arena shooters to an extent, but when you have depth, when you have fucking elevation you can get to, when there's places you can climb, when there's underground areas, where there's a little secret, like, patio thing you can crawl under, when you have things like that, you create a game that, yes, it can have more campers, but it's stuff that you have to learn. What I've missed out of the latest Call of Duties, except for Call of Duty Ghosts, but all the way back to Black Ops 2 and MW3, there's not a lot to learn. Maps should be something players have to learn, just the same as aiming, just the same as picking the right class, and setting their character up properly. Map knowledge should be important, not just where to throw grenades and where spawns are going to be. Especially since the simpler the maps are, the simpler the spawns become. These kind of small, simple maps are good for pub stompers, they're good for competitive, but in my opinion, they are missing out on the depth that a lot of other shooters have. And what I liked about Infinite Warfare's new DLC is that they're kind of weird. The new maps are kind of strange. I ended up getting flanked not because of bad spawns and because the map is so small I kill them and they spawn like 10 feet from me. No, there were lanes I didn't know about. There were little pathways I didn't know about in these maps and I had to learn them. Lines of sight become more important. Learning spots becomes more important when the maps are more complicated. I want verticality. I want underground areas. I want doors that can be opened and closed. I want the maps to kind of be a little bit more alive and less these static 3-lane maps with super predictable spawns and head glitches and lines of sight. The people that like that are usually more simple-minded COD players. They use the best class and they mow down opponents, game in and game out. The spawns are easy to learn, it just comes down to your own gun skill, but I like the idea that a map can cater to somebody that wants to sit in a window with a bolt action or rush around in all the tight lanes. Call of Duty Ghosts map design used to frustrate me, but I realized I was kind of on the bandwagon. When I started to really look at the maps objectively, I realized these maps can be played by any type of player. So what I'm saying is I don't want the maps to be huge because there's not going to be unlimited sprint. We're not sliding around, we're not wall running. The maps don't have to be huge, but I want the maps to be interesting. I want there to be interesting lines of sight. I want there to be carefully crafted things and not just be this almost paintball field. It's like speedball field kind of thing where it's just symmetrical cover on each side. I know Call of Duty is an arena Twitch shooter, but I don't want to feel like I'm in an arena all the time. I like a little bit of asymmetrical design. I like there to be elevation positions that players want to fight for. I like there to be a window that overlooks an area that, you want to watch that window. That window's very important. Or an underground area that helps you flank. COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, and Call of Duty Ghosts have the most interesting maps in my mind. When I think of fun maps to play with my friends on, to do hide and seek, to do sniper battles, to do Michael Myers, I think Ghosts, I think WW2, I think Call of Duty 4, I think Black Ops. And this is all opinion. This is all just my gunk. Who cares, right? This is just my preference. It's very clear it's not everybody's preference, but I think the simplicity of Call of Duty is enough. The way Call of Duty's played is simple enough. And pub stompers, experienced Call of Duty players that eat, sleep, and breathe Call of Duty and don't touch other games unless their fans demand them to. Okay, sorry, that was a little bit more directed towards YouTubers, but that goes... Not everybody has fans, Ian. But here's the thing. To those players, these maps are really cool because it's super easy to learn the spawns and spawn trap people and rotate spawns and control the map the way you want to control it. It's all at your fingertips. But what about a map that requires learning and is complex enough to give you a different experience every time you play on it? One of the things I am really happy about is that Call of Duty World War II has fixed gun placement, and if they're well placed and the guns are worth getting on, that's a good thing. Those are areas you're going to want to fight for, especially in objective game modes. And when you hear somebody mowing down people with the MG42, you're going to want to back the fuck away, and that is a good thing. I like Call of Duty's gameplay, but when you have Call of Duty's very, simple, intuitive gameplay anybody can pick up and not everyone can do well with, I think something you can do to accentuate that is have maps that not everybody knows the first 2 times of playing. There are little ledges and little rooftops and little things I'm still finding in games like Black Ops and COD 4 and Call of Duty Ghosts. There's still little lines of sight I'm still finding. It makes me want to go on the maps by myself and just walk around and look at things and try to find these areas. In fact, there was a little series I was on Exclusive Ace's channel. His channel is a channel, and you probably know who Exclusive Ace is. If you don't know, look up Exclusive Ace. Anyway, I used to help him on some videos, and on these videos, we would look for these map spots. Good lines of sight, good sniping lines of sight, good grenade spots, little interesting ledges you can hang off of, things of that sort. And as Call of Duty progressed from Advanced Warfare, or regressed in some people's minds, the maps definitely did, it got harder and harder to find spots worth making videos about. These spots are really important. Counter-Strike has good competitive maps, but they still have interesting lines of sight and things that only experienced players know, and I think that's a good thing. So I hope Call of Duty World War II doesn't go for the lowest common denominator with their maps. They don't just cater to the pub stompers or the competitive crowd. They don't just cater to people that like simple maps. I hope there's a good variety of maps. Not every map needs to be large and complex or small and simple. I hope we have a good variety of map design. I'm sure this video will get a little bit of backlash, but not too much. We're just talking about maps in Call of Duty, so if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. What are your ideas? What are your, what do you want? Basically, what do you want out of Call of Duty maps and things of that sort? I'd love to hear from you guys. Please let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you when I see you. Thank you guys so much for all the support on my channel, and I will see you later. Yeah, goodbye.